Hey guys, Mike back here again with another stock strategy explained. And today we'll be talking about Apple. So just a quick reminder, this is not financial, legal, or tax advice. Make sure you do your own research before investing any of your money in this. This is all just my personal opinions. Before we begin diving into Apple stock, make sure you leave a like and make sure you subscribe to this channel to get more up-to-date news on the latest stocks and what I think about them. Make sure you comment down below. What do you think about Apple stock? Let me know what you think about their new iPhone 12 launch, and also would you buy their stock? And if so, if you think their stock is going to go higher or lower. So comment down below what you think. So before we dive into Apple's financials and their stock price, let's actually look at what iPhones Apple launched recently. So first, starting off, they have their iPhone SE, which was actually launched last quarter. But this is their lowest priced iPhone at $400. Next, we have the iPhone 12 mini at about $700 and the iPhone 12. These are kind of entry-level iPhones, I would say, and they're pretty good for the average consumer. Then we have the iPhone 12 Pro and the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is kind of a mouthful. But essentially, these are kind of the prosumer devices with bigger screens, more cameras, that really enable these consumers to do what they want to do at a slightly higher price point, starting at about $1,000. So looking at their brand new iPhone launch, you can actually see that they're starting to lower the price of their iPhones a little bit. Originally, they had the iPhone 10, iPhone 10s, and 11, starting at around $1,000 if you remember. And now they're starting to move a little bit lower with their iPhone 12 and iPhone 12 mini, and even their SE, starting to move into the mid-tier prices of phones at about $700, $800, and even to the lower tier prices of phones, starting with the iPhone SE at $400, which is a steal in my opinion. And what we're seeing here is Apple's actually starting to move lower and lower in their average selling price. And it kind of makes you wonder, what is their strategy here? So let's actually dissect that a little bit. So if you look at their revenue, you probably wouldn't be surprised that iPhone sales make up the majority of their revenue. They make about $26.4 billion from iPhones, which is basically to say it's a lot. It's almost about 50% of their revenue. Last quarter, they made about $59 billion in revenue, which is about 11% growth year over year. And so as you can see, the iPhone sales, it's almost 50%. So iPhones make up a good chunk of their revenue. And if you look at Apple's financial statements, you'll actually see they called out the iPhone SE as increasing net sales for the iPhone last quarter, which is pretty impressive and showing how the lower the price point they go, the more revenue that they make and the more iPhone sales that they make. But then the question is, are they going to be making a profit? Are they going to be making an income based off of these iPhone sales with their lower price points? And this is where we should really start looking into their strategy and their financial strategy and how selling lower priced iPhones could actually make sense. So looking at their quarterly revenue of about $59 billion, we actually see 78% of it's coming from products. So this includes the iPhone and Mac, wearables like the Apple Watch. But another category that we see is services, which makes up about 22% of revenue right now. The interesting thing is services is growing relatively fast compared to the products, and it's making a lot of money in gross margin. So let's actually take a pause here and actually take a look at what Apple services even are. Apple services are sales from the App Store, from their video service, which is Apple TV Plus, from cloud services like iCloud and storage, from advertising, and from Apple Care. And we can see from the services that these are actually making a lot of money for Apple, and they're growing relatively fast at about 15% year over year. But the other interesting thing that's really important to note here is their product gross margin and their services gross margin. So their product gross margin is about 30%. So that means that whenever they make $100 worth of sales, they're probably only making a profit of about $30 on that, so 30%. However, on their services gross margin, they're actually making about 67% gross margin. So that means when they sell $100 worth of services, they're making in profit about $67, right? So I think the strategy here is really to sell products and sell as many products as possible, which is why they're getting lower and lower in their price point. This means that the more products that they sell, the more services that they can sell. They can sell these services on lower priced iPhones such as Apple Care. They can sell more apps in the App Store. They can sell more cloud services on iCloud. They can sell more Apple News subscriptions. They can sell more Apple Music subscriptions. So I really see Apple's strategy here as before it used to be about selling iPhones, making money on iPhones, but now I think it's about selling a lot of iPhones. I think it's about selling way more iPhones, and maybe they even lose a little bit of money on some of their iPhones like the SE. But I think their strategy here is to make up for it on the services side. The more iPhones they sell, the more iPhone users they have, the more direct line of contact they have with these customers to directly sell them some services. So I think Apple's strategy here is to grow their services business as much and as fast as possible, especially as we're seeing they have a really good gross margin. So now that we kind of understand why iPhone is releasing and launching more of these lower priced iPhones, we can now take a look at their stock and understand where their stock is going and if we should buy their stock. So currently right now, their stock is at about $118 per share, and it's grown about 100% year over year. This is pretty impressive growth and a lot faster than I was anticipating in the beginning. Based off of the iPhone play here and how I think they're going to invest a lot more into their services, I do think Apple stock is a buy. I think the question is just how much and how much room does it have left to grow. For me, I think Apple stock can probably grow to another $150 per share in the next 5 years. I do think Apple is more of a long-term play. I don't see any more big growth spurts like 100% year over year growth much longer, but I do see a nominal amount of growth, such as 20% in the next year, or maybe even 30%. I think these iPhone sales are definitely going to add to Apple's bottom line, but I think later on down the road, in about 5 years, we'll start to see a lot more impact in their revenue and top line revenue through their services. We're going to see these services make a lot more margin for Apple, and these margins will lead to kind of the income growth that we hope to see. I think for Apple, we should actually start to view it less as a hardware company and more of a software company in the next 5 years. And we know software companies have about a 10x multiple on revenue. What this 10x multiple means is that based off of their revenue, we expect their market cap to be about 10x. So if they're making $100 million in revenue, we expect it to be about $1 billion in market cap. And I think what we'll start to see with Apple is it'll start to become more valued like a software company that has higher gross margins and more recurring amount of revenue every month. I think this new multiple and this new way of viewing Apple will really help their stock in the long term on the span of 3 to 5 years. I think it's a buy if you can hold it for the next 3 to 5 years, and I think it has a lot of room to grow. Probably my guess is 20% year over year in the next 3 to 5 years. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Would you buy Apple stock based off of this analysis? If you already do own Apple stock, would you continue to hold it? Let me know what you think down below in the comments and if what I said even makes any financial sense. And with that, we wrap up our Apple analysis. And remember, before you do any investing, make sure you do your homework and you understand the company's stock strategy. That is always what matters, their product strategy and their financial strategy. Hope this helped, and make sure you leave a comment and a like and a subscribe. Thanks, guys.